I'm sweating. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video I'm gonna be bringing you guys along with me for my Sunday reset. So I like to do these to just get on track for the week, get some ingredients prepped, maybe some cleaning and organizing done, and today I've got a list of things that I have planned that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys to hopefully give maybe some motivation or inspiration on ways that you can stay on track with your journey as well. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And let's quickly go over what I'm going to be prepping in the kitchen today. The first thing that I have planned is some stir-fry veggie mix. I'm gonna make a big batch of this so that we just have it ready to add to rice or sesame noodles this week. I've got some vegetables that I need to use up, so this will be perfect. So the first thing I'm going to add, I've got these carrot chips. And I usually just chop them into a little bit smaller pieces than what they are. I've also got a bag of snow peas that I'm going to mix in, and I'll just use this whole bag. Same with this entire carton of white mushrooms. I don't always like to do mushrooms for veggie mixes because sometimes they get a little too soft, but I'm not gonna cook this for too long so that it'll be nice to reheat and just store in the fridge. So I'll use this container. I've also got some jalapeños from the garden, and I've really been enjoying the flavor of them in different Asian style dishes lately. So I'm gonna chop 2 of those up and then a red onion, and I'll just cook that in a big skillet. I do add a splash of toasted sesame oil, which is technically points, but when I make these veggie mixes, I don't always count it because I use so little and I get a good portion of them, but I feel like the flavor is just so perfect. And a lot of the times with these veggie mixes, I'll also add a splash of soy sauce to add some saltiness and flavor, but that's my plan for that. I'm also going to make some chocolate waffles. We've all 3 really been enjoying having waffles prepped. They're nice for like a quick and easy breakfast or even like a snack before the gym, and sometimes I even use them for dessert. I'm hoping the chocolate ones turn out good. All I'm gonna do is use this buttermilk pancake mix, which I get from Aldi. And when I do these prepping videos and my ingredient prep for the week, I usually just make the whole box because then there's a bunch of waffles and we go through them pretty quickly. I'll add a little bit of vanilla to it, some water and eggs. And then today I'm going to try to add some cocoa powder. This is a specific one I get from my cookie business that I really like. It's got a nice dark flavor to it. So I don't know how much to add, but I'm just gonna mix it up and see. And then I usually add just a little bit of this coconut brown sugar. Then I'll just use my waffle maker to do those. I'll actually probably start that first so that I can cook them while I cook everything else because those take a little bit longer and I just need to remember to keep switching them out. My last reset, I almost burnt them and they were kind of rock hard, but we did end up eating them and they were fine. I'm going to make those. We're also going to prep some jasmine rice, and I always talk about how we use a rice cooker and just make a big batch. Trevor's actually the one who always is on top of that. He's always making the rice for the week. He's actually going to make it today. I'll show you guys how he does it, but we just use a rice cooker. I can link a similar one in the description. We've had this one for so long. Honestly, it's time to get a new one, so maybe we'll invest in that soon. But we're gonna make a big batch of jasmine rice that we just store in the fridge. And then the last thing that I'm doing, I bought some chicken breasts from the store, and I'm just going to put those in 2 different gallon bags with some water and a little bit of oil. And then I've got some seasoning packets that each one will get a different one. So I've got mesquite and zesty garlic and herb, and those will be perfect for honestly a bunch of different meals with the prep chicken that I make. I'm just gonna grill it in the backyard on my grill, and then I store it in the fridge in an airtight container, and it really does stay nice and juicy and reheats really well. So those are all the ingredients I'm going to prep to just have them ready for the week to throw meals together. Even with the stir-fry veggie mix and the chicken, I can just add it to some rice and I've got a really quick and easy meal with ingredients that were already prepped. Actually, everything today. I didn't even plan that. I can just make a whole bowl out of everything that we're prepping. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started cooking, and then I've got some cleaning and organizing tasks after we're giving the dogs a bath, and I know that they're excited about it. They keep walking around and I keep telling them. So anyway, I'm gonna get started. I like to get the chicken started marinating first just because I think it has a little bit better flavor and juiciness the longer that it actually sits. Sometimes I'll even just leave it in the fridge overnight, but today I didn't do that, so I just got this started first, and I separated the chicken into 2 Ziploc bags. Today I decided to mix it up and do zesty herb and mesquite for the different flavors. So I just open the packet and pour it into each individual one. Then I add about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water. The packets usually say to add a little bit more olive oil than I do, but I find that 1 to 2 tablespoons is perfect. I just try to squeeze the air out of them, and then I massage them around to make sure that the chicken is pretty evenly coated. I just pop them in the fridge, and then they can just wait there until I've got the grill preheated and ready to start going. Then moving on to the jasmine rice, you pretty much just have to get it started and then it cooks on its own. So we've got this rice cooker here. Trevor usually does 4 cups of the dry rice, and then he adds about 5.5 cups of water and some salt to that. Then you just pop the lid on, turn it to cook, and let it sit until it's done. Moving on to the chocolate waffles that I'm prepping today. So I just buy this buttermilk pancake or waffle mix, usually from like Walmart or Aldi. Sometimes I use the Kodiak brand, but I'm actually finding that I like the Aldi box better. So to that, I'm adding some eggs, a splash of vanilla, about a tablespoon of brown coconut sugar, and then I added 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. I always end up having to guess with the water at the end how much I need, but I just mix it in until it's a nice liquidy consistency. I realized that I forgot to preheat the waffle griddle, so while that's heating up, I decided to start chopping up the veggies for the stir-fry veggie mix. Like I mentioned, the toasted sesame oil does technically add points, but it is so worth it for the flavor that it adds to this. And for me, it's just one of those mental weeklies that I don't track my activity points, so little points like that I'm not too picky about. I just continue to let that cook while I start making the waffles, so I usually keep that at like a medium-low heat. And now that my griddler, that's actually what it's called, it's a griddler, and something that I never thought I'd use as much as I do, but once the griddler is preheated, I can start pouring the waffle batter on. And this is where it's nice because I could just switch back and forth. Once it's cooked for about 2 minutes, I flip the waffle over and then I continue to just stir the veggies. And whenever I make stir-fry veggies, I do add in some soy sauce. Today I also added some onion powder and garlic salt to it. Usually it ends up cooking for about 10 minutes in total, and then once it's done, I put it to the side to cool off. And it is really nice to prep the entire box ahead of time. I get so many waffles out of it, I forget how many batches it actually ends up being. I just continue to let those cook though while I start with the grill, so it has been preheating and now it's ready for the chicken. Before I place it on the grill, I do try to kind of shake it around in the marinade to get as much extra as I can on there. But I just place the chicken breast on the preheated grill, cover it, and let them cook for a few minutes until I flip them. Once the rice is done cooking, we always make sure to fluff it up a little like what Trevor's doing here. We make sure to fully cool it off, but it also helps so that it's not just one solidified thing of rice in the fridge when we put it in containers. Then it's time to flip over the chicken that's just been cooking out here. I still feel like I'm just learning how to grill. I don't really have any great tips, so if anyone wants to leave any in the comments. I've actually been considering getting a Blackstone. I think that would be really nice too. While I was grilling though, I did notice I have some red tomatoes that were ready, so I wanted to go ahead and grab those before the chipmunk found a way to get to them. And I was actually standing in my garden screaming to myself because these were beautiful and this is what I wanted so badly last year, but every single one got eaten, so I was so happy about these. Like I mentioned, we like to make sure that the rice is fully cooled before we put it in containers and pop it in the fridge. Same thing with the veggie mix. I find that it just condensates much less when it's fully cooled off. And I have the perfect glass airtight containers to store it in. And everything was finishing up right at the same time, so it was perfect. The chicken was done on the grill. I had a couple pieces I wanted to leave just a little bit longer, but it was pretty much finished. And for me, I've been enjoying the grilled chicken the most in different types of rice bowls with a lot of veggies, maybe some cheese and sauce. And Adam's actually really been enjoying them in wraps. He'll shred up some of the cooked chicken breast and then add some of his buffalo chicken dip and maybe some lettuce, and that is his favorite meal. Then the chocolate waffles were finishing up. I actually remembered them this time and didn't overdo the last one while I started my cleanup. I found my crochet blanket that I had put off to the side. I don't know what it is, but I only end up crocheting in wintertime, so I'm excited to get back to that. But I knew this room just needed some straightening up. I've got some nails just sitting there. I had my favorite chips that were also just on the table, and it really needed some dusting and organizing. We like to play Mario Kart, so we had left all the Switch remotes out, and I have a place for them, but they just never get put back. So it feels nice to actually get that cleaned up, and then I started dusting this off. And I swear within seconds of dusting and even vacuuming, it feels like you could just breathe easier, and it's almost just like a weight off my shoulders. I just need to be more consistent with actually doing this. And usually most of the mess in the family room is blankets that are just thrown everywhere, pillows, and then the dog toys, because Pluto likes to take out like 10 different toys throughout the day, every single day, even if I put them back. Speaking of the dogs, they were actually cracking me up filming this because they are both scared of the vacuum, and whenever it comes out, they are gone. But of course, because I was filming today, both of them just wanted to be on the camera. Pluto knocked into it, and it was just cracking me up. But once they really realized what I was doing, they got out of there and I was able to get some vacuuming done. I've mentioned this vacuum before. It is a Dyson and it is one of the best investments I've ever made. It really does make such a difference. It's easy to use and I just love it. We also recently got these little steps for the dogs to jump on the couch with, and they're finally learning how to actually use them. They're both about 9 years old, and so as they get older, it's gotten a little bit harder for them to jump up. So this has been nice, and I'm glad that they're finally using it now. Then moving on to bath time with the dogs today, they were actually so good. I first wanted to clear out the shower because I was planning to scrub it down after. But Maggie just walked right in. I hadn't even started the water. I needed to heat it up first, so she was ready to go. And then when she realized what was going on, she kind of ran away. But she was so good once I started. The little seat in here really makes it so much easier for me to be able to wash them, and same with the shower head. I will never forget the time that I brought Maggie to Pet Supplies Plus by myself, and she jumped out of the bath, and it was a raised bath. It was horrible, but she's much better at them now. I just get the soap nice and lathered up, make sure to get everywhere, and then rinse her off, which is her favorite part. And then, of course, every time we go to dry her, she's got to shake off, even if we get the towel on her on time. But still the cutest thing. She was such a good girl. And then it was Pluto's turn. Pluto blew my mind this time too, because usually he's even more nervous than Maggie, and he just hopped right in with me and was so good right away. We really had a hard time giving them baths or showers in our old house, and this is just such a nicer setup, so I think they've even gotten used to it and just much better with it. Then of course Pluto had to do his shake off, and it was time for them to just get dried. This is always the perfect time for me to clean the shower because now it's filthy from all the dog hair, but also it's just easy to clean it after they're done. So here's what it looks like before. I had a huge wad of dog hair at the bottom that I had to clean out. I was just spraying down the sides of the walls first. You can see it all going to the bottom. But I just sprayed it and let it soak for a couple minutes, and then I had my little handheld scrubber brush, which works perfectly, and I just did that until it was nice and shiny again. And I don't love cleaning showers, but I have to say it is so satisfying taking the shower head like this and just rinsing it all off and seeing it actually clean again. Of course, the dogs were so good, so they earned their treat, and that wraps up their baths. Okay, that wraps up my Sunday reset for today. I'm sweaty after giving them baths and cleaning out that shower. It was getting warm in there, so I put a fan in there to air it out. But anyway, I finished all of my ingredient prep. I've got a bunch of chocolate waffles here that look delicious, so I'll just store these in the fridge, or if we don't use them fast enough, you can freeze them. But I've also got my stir-fry veggie mix that I just put in this glass dish, and I just let it cool completely so that it doesn't get soggy and extra like condensation on it when I store it in there. So once it's cooled off, I'll pop it in the fridge. Same thing with my grilled chicken, which all of this is just making me so hungry right now. I was actually out there grilling and our pest control guy came and he said it smelled amazing. So I thought that was funny, but I've got my grilled chicken here, the 2 different flavors, and usually I just put them in one container because you can tell which one is which, but that's done. And then we've also got the jasmine rice finished up. Super prepped and ready for a good week, and it felt good to get a little bit of cleaning done. That family room just really needed some dusting and vacuuming done, and that shower was pretty filthy. So felt good to get that finished, and the dogs are nice and clean. And that wraps up my Sunday reset for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.